Hi, we're talking today with Hal Turner, the Chief Executive Officer of Pac-West. Hal, welcome.
Thank you very much, Greg.
So, how's business these days?
Actually, business is going very well for us. We were extremely fortunate to have a great 2008.
Excellent.
Our 2009 is just running in the same footprints as the great 2008 so far. Certainly we acknowledge and understand that there's been some economic change, but reality is that the service providers and the carriers that we deal with are continuing to utilize the value and the economics and the quality that come from our network. So we're very gratified.
Excellent, excellent. You mentioned footprint. Pac-West is expanding their footprint, is that correct? I understand you recently acquired a company in Texas.
That is correct. So our strategy has been very straightforward. We expand when we have customers that drive us to that need.
Sure.
And when the concentration of the customer need is such and we find a right target company that makes sense, we've embarked upon an M&A strategy. So TexLink was our first acquisition post-reorganization, and that occurred, finally closed in December of 2008.
Okay, excellent. Now, you had had a partnership with them ahead of the actual acquisition, correct?
That is the beauty of the relationship. An acquisition makes no sense unless the economic, commercial synergies are there.
Sure.
So we started doing business with TexLink in the early part of 2008, and we deepened that into a very tightly woven commercial agreement. It worked so well, and with the additional footprint, things certainly progressed, and we said, look, we'll just go ahead and close it, make it an acquisition, and that's what we did. It worked very well. It also allowed us to take the unusual step, we think, of almost fully integrating the companies before we ever closed the deal.
There you go.
And the implication of that is that we've hit 2009 full speed ahead, no issues at all.
Excellent. I also heard that you just had a little bit of news on the international front. Maybe you can share with our viewers a little bit about the international voice services offering that you have.
Yes. First of all, the international marketplace is something that I'm extremely bullish on. Our company and many of the people that we've brought into the company have experience in the international marketplace, so we think it makes a lot of sense to go after that. We have a very vibrant footprint in the U.S. We cover roughly 40%, 45% of the U.S. through 22 states of coverage. So the opportunity is that for the international carrier, we're able to offer an alternative to some of the incumbents.
Okay.
And an alternative that is flexible in its service offering, its pricing structure. And that has allowed us to bring in Tier 1 international carriers at a very healthy rate, so we're very pleased. We also have just today announced the initiation of our international origination product, and again, it's following the reciprocal of that, which is through these relationships, we now have the opportunity to be a turnkey provider to our service providers, which says, here is now an international outlet with a trusted Tier 1 carrier partner, affordable rates, and you can not only use our footprint to terminate calls, but you can originate calls with these partners, and it's working very well for us.
Okay, excellent. Are there any particular geographies that that you're sort of addressing first and foremost on the international side?
Clearly, because our footprint has a western and a southern profile, we're very interested in Mexico and Latin American marketplaces.
Okay.
Additionally, through relationships from many years gone by, not only with myself but others, we're very interested in Asia and Australia and the Pacific Rim area. Following a bit of uptake in those markets, we'll turn our focus toward Europe.
Right. Okay. Very good. Well, it sounds like things are going very well for Pac-West.
We're very pleased, yes.
Yeah. And now Pac-West has been around nearly 30 years. Is that correct?
Pac-West is approximately a 30-year-old company. It has its roots into the telephone interconnect business and then long-distance resell business. And then with the Telecom Act of '96 became a full-fledged CLEC. Like many CLECs, it sought to competitive local exchange carriers. It sought to deal with consumers, to deal with small, medium enterprises and large enterprises, and the wholesale carrier market. It was learned painfully that you cannot be all things to all people unless you happen to be one of the large 100-year-old incumbents.
Right.
So the company reorganized in '07, and we've very narrowly focused ourselves as an enabler of network services, working for our service providers, certainly dealing with a suite of services that cover database, E911 services, along with basic connectivity, IP, SIP trunking, into a suite of services now coupled with international that make a lot of sense. So
Excellent.
we're very pleased.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today, Hal. It's a pleasure.
You were quite welcome.